Hi, this is David with Stress Free. This video is about how to deal with a tenant who doesn't pay rent on time. And a lot of property owners, especially when they haven't owned many rental properties, have a lot of aggravation with this. It really stresses them out. So let me help you solve this. A couple simple things you do, it'll make it a lot easier. First thing, you need to check your lease and make sure you have a late fee listed in your lease. Okay, that's easy. The second thing is much harder. But it's easy to do. You just got to be disciplined and enforce the late fee. That's the absolute key to getting people to pay on time. It is just making sure that you charge them a late fee. Many times what tenants will do is try to play on your sympathy and we have a car breakdown, my aunt is in the hospital, my mother just died, all that kind of stuff. And if you accept that as an excuse for not to paying rent on time, I can assure you that that type of excuse you will receive all the time, and rent will never be paid on time. So, because tenants are very much like kids. If they figure out that you're willing to take a story, they're going to give you story after story after story. So the key, enforce your late fee, no matter what. The only rare exception is if you've had a tenant for a year, 2 years, they've been great, and you might waive it once in a great while, but hardly ever. That's the key. And most property managers that I know that are more toward the beginner stages, they waive it left and right. And here's another thing that tenants will do is they simply won't send you the late fee, and then you're faced with having to chase them for it and threaten eviction and all that kind of stuff. And so many owners just don't bother. Here's the tip: bother. Make sure they pay the late fee no matter what, because otherwise you're not going to get rent on time. It seems very simple, but trust me, it really does work. We manage hundreds of properties, and it's so central to getting the rent on time. So keep that in mind and realize that, to be blunt, tenants lie. So just because they say that their grandmother has cancer does not mean it's the case. I've had 3 grandmothers have cancer in the last 6 months, and I can assure you none of them did. So, and even if they did have these problems, they're not your problems unless you make them your problems. So, you can't go to the grocery store and get food and say, oh, my grandmother is in the hospital, I'll pay you next week. They're not going to take it. You need to think like a grocery store and enforce your rules. And if they don't want to pay the late fee, then file for eviction, because otherwise they're always going to pay late. So hopefully this tip this video will help you solve this problem. I hear it all the time from property owners, so give it some thought. It absolutely does work. Thank you.